everybody.
I'm Cameron.
I'm Zach.
I know everything.
I have 2 seasons of Game of Thrones under my belt.
And this is the Watching You Watch podcast. So, Zach, you finished season 2. How we feeling? How we feeling here?
I feel as if you and the bar friend were pulling the shenanigans on me because I was nowhere near as bad as I thought. I wore my safety crown all the time. Although I guess it sort of was bad in the fact where like everything resolved okay for the people you wanted it to. And
that made you dread what's going to happen to them in season 3.
Exactly. Yeah. I get like it was so sad. There's like all these like touching love stories. I'm like, no, something it's just gonna go to garbage. I don't even want to get committed to this, to any of it.
Oh, Zach. Well,
I can't anymore.
We finished just watching episode 10 of season 2 entitled Valar Morghulis. So fun fact for you, Zach.
Valar Morghulis.
Valar Morghulis.
That means Nike. Just do it.
No.
Sponsors.
Well, kind of. It's a Valyrian phrase that basically it means all men must die.
Huh.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
And, it gets that title after Arya's last words with Jack and Hagar, which we can definitely talk about because it's definitely, for me, one of the highlights of this episode.
There is all of the magic everywhere.
Yeah, so go ahead. What are some of your initial highlights coming off of the season 2 finale?
Okay, well, I loved love stories. The Tyrion Shay thing being super sincere and the Rob just being like, no, mommy, I'm marrying her because I'm a big boy and I can do what I want.
And she's like, but I didn't love your father when I met him. And he's like,
whatever.
Yes.
It's a lot more tactful than that. But, we boil it down to the main points because there's just sick burns being slung back and forth. And mama's like, oh, no, he can throw sick burns as well as the other person.
That's true. He does give her a pretty sick burn.
Yeah, and she gets all teary-eyed because she's like, my baby.
Yes, she's like, well, I don't know if I done goofed or not, but I'm pretty sure I done goofed.
But you didn't done goof as bad as Cersei, so it's okay, Catelyn. Don't worry about it. Don't even worry about it. And then Joffrey's all like, look, pretty lady, and Margaery's like, I'm gonna be the queen. He's like, can she be queen? And Cersei's like, yeah, and Pycelle's like, legally. And he's like, cool. And Sansa's like, I'm free. And Littlefinger's like, nah.
Nah, you're not
But
free.
I can get you out of here. And you're right. This is the second time she turns down an offer to leave King's Landing.
It is.
I don't understand her brain. I don't get it. What are you doing?
She either is just like petrified to like the point of
like she
inaction.
just, I mean, to be fair, if she really was like a piece in the game that the Lannisters want her to control, she probably knows she'll never be able to get away.
Right. Or it's Stockholm syndrome.
Or Stockholm syndrome, or just a whole like she doesn't want to be out on the road because there's scary people out there.
That's
and
true.
She's been traumatized enough. So not even just Stockholm syndrome. She just knows basically her time as King's Landing has showed her how terrible people can be. So
the world is a cruel place.
And she just doesn't want to go out there, which, it's a dumb choice and also a very good choice because even under the protection of the Hound or Littlefinger or like both of them, things would not be great for her.
Right. I think that has to just do with her like innocence and her highbornness. Like there's all these things.
Oh yeah, there's still that. There's still like a lot of growing she has to do as a person.
Correct.
But yeah, that's like her. And what else is going down? Oh yeah, and Tyrion's no longer hand of the king. And that's garbage.
Tywin showed up.
And he's like, I'm a hideous monster. And Shay's like, whatever. Scars are sexy.
In the book, actually, they kind of describe it like Tyrion's wounds from the battle are a lot more severe to the point where he kind of lost like a large portion of his face and like his half of his nose.
Oh my gosh. So he's like, a Two-Face. He's got a Two-Face going on.
Basically, there's like he looks a lot more monstrous in the book as a result of his wounds. Obviously, in the show, it would be difficult for them to do that because they'd have to do a CGI assisted makeup every episode that Tyrion appeared in. And
that would be too much.
It would just be too hard.
So yeah. Once again, we get big face Scar, but
right.
It's not so much the Scar that he's worried about, so much as now he has like infinitely less power and he still loves Shay, and
Yeah.
everyone is out to get him.
But, there's also, like, she's like, hey, like, let's leave and we can just do whatever. And then he's like,
He's like, this is what I do.
and he's like, I'm good at it, and I like that I'm good at it. And without this, I have no purpose, basically.
Because that's what he's built his life on, being able to survive in this Game of Thrones environment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of sad. But, hey, at least he's one of the few people in the series that recognizes who he is and what he wants.
Mm-hmm. So what else? What else is your highlights from this episode?
We get dragons back.
We do get dragons back.
Oh my goodness, Drogo is back, and they had the cutest Gerber baby.
That's true.
That wasn't fair. There are some rude dudes in the Magic Castle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say the writer's room for bringing back Drogo.
Oh, that's not nice. They jumped right into my fan fictions. They were going through the worlds of the fan fictions where Daenerys just like had burned down King's Landing and is about to take the throne, and where like Drogo and her baby are okay. Not cool. Not cool.
Yep.
Well, I mean, those are the happy ones. Most of the other ones are just like redonkulous. Let's see, what other big things? Well, obviously White Walkers.
Right, we have
which is
this
absolutely not great.
epic ending, hundreds of White Walkers who are just kind of on the march.
So it's sort of like, hey, Walking Dead, stop treading on our toes. We can be just as cool as you, if not more. Which, the thing with it is in a show where it's like about zombies the whole time, it's like, oh man, zombies. But like in a show like this where it's been like very realistic and like high, like oldie times, like doing this sharp 180 to like high fantasy and like an army of freaking ice zombies.
Yeah, we get a lot of magic in general this episode.
Yeah. Also, the magic between Jon Snow and Ygritte is increasing as he murders his own teammate. As his teammate like totally takes one for the team in the most like baller way possible, and Jon Snow somehow pouts harder than I've ever seen him pout.
That pout intensifies.
It somehow did. I didn't think it was possible, and it was enough that even Ygritte stopped like rustling his jimmies.
Yeah, she was just like, I believe you now, and I want to do bad things to you.
Yeah,
that look.
Yeah.
It's so perfect.
It's. Yeah. And the Bone Daddy is all like, yeah, he's one of us. One of us. Yeah. Also burn that guy because you don't want him like, haunting you because, It Follows is a movie we watched recently.
Yeah, except it would be It Follows White Walker edition.
I could see it.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Just kind of shambling.
Although I will say that the big White Walker's face looked like a butthole. He was so old and pruny.
I'm just going to gloss over that because that's just way too much for me to even...
It's how I cope.
Yeah. No. Okay, moving on.
And also, Theon is an idiot, and he made a good speech.
Yep, gives a good speech,
and then,
gets knocked out.
Once again, we have like an unceremonious Meister kill. Meister kill.
Poor Maester Lewin. He does everything as best as he can. He tries to kind of cajole Theon.
My gosh.
He is loyal and everything,
He's
and then
so
even
good.
so,
and then he just gets
stabbed, speared.
Piked. I hate it. It's so dumb.
Yep.
And then, like, 20 people burn down a whole city before 500 people can stop them, and magically they're gone. Some freaking
burn out of
shenanigans.
spite.
Just
it's ridiculous.
There's some, I don't know. It's dumb.
Yes.
That's pretty dumb, but it's okay, because Dark Frodo Baggins and Hodor and Lady Bramflakes and the ugly one are gone. I don't know. It's the best comparison I can give to how he fits into the group. He's just like the random outcast that's there because they have to have him there.
So Hodor, Rickon, Osha, and Bran have fled. Just for clarity's sake.
Rickroll. So
no,
it's never mind. No more jokes.
I can't even.
We're in a bit of a sticky Rick on Nick. Nope, done. No, it's getting worse.
Yep.
I'm impressing myself. I want to see how much worse it can go.
No, you don't. You're ruining
have questions?
it. I do have questions.
You could save yourself.
Are you done recapping? Is that what you're trying to say?
What I'm trying to say is you need to stop me because I'm a monster.
I'm stopping you because it's going to get real bad. So let's go back to the very beginning of this episode. We see Tyrion, and then we see Tywin come into the court, and we get a really interesting scene with the Tyrells who have shown up here. What did you think of this kind of power play that's going on between Littlefinger brokering this alliance and Margaery wanting to become the queen?
That totally makes sense now. That's what he was doing and how it's happened. Not that I don't think Tywin can do it, just that it was kind of weird. It's like magically millions of reinforcements.
Yep. And then you find out it was Littlefinger who brokered the alliance, which makes perfect sense.
And it obviously happened because like Margaery's like, "Can I be queen?" He's like, "Yeah, sure." And she's like, "Done."
Yep. And she's like got this whole thing figured out. Like she comes there, she's wearing like
she's
a
being
very
super seductive,
deeply I don't know, revealing dress,
a very low V-neck.
Yes, and she's saying all the right things. She's like, "I've loved you from afar, Joffrey."
Flattering the flattery right out of him.
Oh my gosh, it's ridiculous.
It's actually disgusting. I vomited a bit in my mouth. You
can actually kind of see Loras vomiting in his mouth a little bit in that scene.
Yeah, in that scene, she's like, "Oh my God, my boyfriend just died, and here you are, just trying to be the queen with this little creepazoid."
But she don't care none. She's just like, "I'm gonna be the queen," and she's smiling there, like she's like, "I win."
Yeah,
the whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
And then that's followed by Sansa smiling. Right after that, she's like, "I win too." Oh wait, I don't.
No,
win.
I don't. No, I actually kind of lose more. Dang it.
Yes.
And then she turns down an easy out.
Yeah. So anyway, the power play. Other reactions there?
I mean, it makes sense. It follows. Tywin will approve because whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and it also helps their war effort significantly.
Yeah, to have like another major house like aligned with them
for sure
definitely change the power dynamics for sure.
Yeah, that's not good for our buddos in the north because it's not like the Greyjoys are going to be like, "Oh yeah, let's work together." There's still it's still like it's a battle royale except that we have a team against other people.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
Wasn't his force like extremely substantial?
The
numbers game is now strong in the Tyrannister, the
Tywin,
the Lannisters.
Oh gosh, you're trying to figure out a way to combine Lannisters and Tyrells together.
Yeah,
I can't help you on that one. You could just call it
not good.
Yes, not good for the Starks. Let's just call it a world of bad.
Team Stark Stomp.
Ooh, that could work. I might consent to that one.
I don't like it, but
I know
it's catchy enough,
it's
alliteration always wins.
It always wins. So yeah, this is kind of an interesting moment. You know, we've been kind of forecasting for about 2 seasons now an imminent marriage between Joffrey and Sansa, and then
all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Margaery.
Yep, it just happens, and then everyone's like, "I'm gonna roll with this," and it's the first of many scenes in this particular episode where we bring up this theme of like oaths and like the oaths you should honor and the ones you shouldn't honor,
and like when you can turn stuff back and
when it's okay to break an oath and when it's okay to like hold yourself to an oath that might require you to do some bad things. And it's a theme that's repeated throughout this episode. We see it with Robb getting married, and we see it with Brienne murdering Stark soldiers.
Oh, that was so baller. Yeah, because she serves Catelyn. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter what else.
And we see this sort of conflictedness also in Theon as well about which oath he should have really been tied to. And Daenerys as well. So I just kind of wanted your thoughts on that. Like, do these people who are put in these situations where they're tied between 2 oaths, do they make the right decisions?
I Oh, wow, that's just a terrible answer. But the third thing that came to my head is like they made the best decisions for their character arcs.
For the sake of plot.
For the sake of the plot.
But okay,
no,
so like,
but I feel as if a lot of them made decisions that were good for them, even though some of them weren't necessarily great.
Okay.
Like they were all plots that, in especially the short term, benefited them. Mm-hmm. Like in the short term scale, definitely good. In the long term, maybe even still very good.
right.
Almost for all of them. I mean, Theon's one who had like the most crap, but he chose to like stick to his guns, which honestly, in his situation, as garbage as all his choice were, that might have been his best choice.
True.
One of the better ones to stay in his family's team and also just, I don't know, just go out with something.
But see, then then you have Theon, who kind of is like almost constantly turning his back on every oath he makes. On one
Suddenly
end,
stick to something so stubbornly.
yeah, and then on the other end, you have like the oath that Jaqen makes to Arya several episodes ago about the life for a life kind of thing. Arya saves 3 lives. He's gonna give 3
and
lives.
he still gives her like
And he
this,
honors that.
this super like Mundo coin that's basically like, yeah, call me if you need somebody murdered.
And it's like he was loyal to that oath to the point where he would kill himself if Arya requested it, which is exactly what happens. To me, it's so fascinating.
Yeah, and which he still does, which is funny because he keeps like absolutely all of his oaths. Mm-hmm. And he's a stinking doppelganger, and it's amazing.
Right.
It is amazing.
It almost reminds me again of like this conundrum that keeps on being brought up in Game of Thrones. It reminds me of like Jaime and his history of being the Kingslayer. He kills the mad king, even though he was one of the Kingsguard.
Yeah, and he even says, "But like I didn't have to serve the king. I didn't know what to do this. I didn't know what to do that."
Right. So it's almost like they're gonna make the decision that feels right in the moment, even if the consequences aren't obvious. You know. So it's kind of hard to judge right now if these characters are making the best decisions with their oaths. Maybe the decisions that feel the best, which really I feel like complicates things for these really duty-bound characters like Brienne,
Yeah, Brienne and Robb. It's not good. Could be better.
Yes. Okay, so we have that going on one end. There's also new alliances that kind of are coming out of here. We see that several times over. One of the more interesting new alliances is between Varys and Rose, the kindly Littlefinger
because
prostitute.
he wants his real dig on Littlefinger because he's seen the shift of power go and be too much, and he's like, we gotta stay status quo, Littlefinger. And you get like, he got Harrenhal.
He did. He got Harrenhal.
So that's kind of a really big deal, because I mean, we assume the hands have a certain amount of power and a certain amount of like land and stuff, but getting a full freaking castle for yourself is a big
Not
deal.
to mention the fact that like Littlefinger was not a noble at all. Like,
exactly.
And like this is the trajectory that he's plotted for himself. It's almost kind of terrifying to see how upwardly mobile Littlefinger is.
Oh yeah, it's weirdly terrifying.
So you got that alliance. You got Jon's new alliance, which we kind of talked about a little bit already.
The wildlings.
How do you think that's going to pan out?
I have no idea. I feel like he might be happy there because all he would ever do in the Night's Watch is pout, and then the worst thing would be him like 30 years down the road as a guard captain that just like pouts at his soldier. And it's like, God, guys, why can't you do better? And then he just pouts at them, and they stand there uncomfortably. It's almost worse than getting like an angry speech. He just turns the pout into his weapon against his soldiers.
Right. So yeah, lots of interesting new kind of alliances being made this episode. Yeah. One of the scenes too that I want to really talk about, it's one of my favorites in all of Game of Thrones, is the scene where Daenerys goes to visit the sorcerers, and she's given this kind of vision-ish sort of thing, and we see her, she's in the throne room of King's Landing. It's ruined and snowing, Maybe it's, it's really strange.
I assumed it was ash, but it seemed more like snow.
It could be snow. We're not quite sure, but it's definitely ruined there. And then immediately she leaves the throne room to find herself going through the tunnel in the wall in the north to a tent that takes her to see Khal Drogo and her unborn child.
Okay, wow. There was a second there where I completely forgot that she burned the dragons on Drogo's funeral pyre. I was like, oh god, is he coming back as a zombie?
No, yeah, we took care of that problem.
Yeah.
So anyway, and then she goes right from that to saving her dragons, but it's a really interesting set of visions that are gifted to her. So I wanted to know what you thought. If you think what did you make of this? Was this like a vision that was intentionally kind of like a misdirection by the sorcerers? Or was it a prophecy?
I don't necessarily think it was a prophecy. I feel it was more like the warlocks cast a spell. It's basically like you'll see what your heart desires, but like maybe not the thing that you're after. So it was basically like a blind to throw her off. And I feel like it was very important to her as a character because she was choosing dragons. She was choosing her own path. Right. She was like, I mean, she saw two things that she wanted, like, a lot. And she gave them up in favor of, like, dragons. And by extension, like, sort of like the idea of her people and stuff. But so, yeah, I don't know. I mean, this also represents that she is comfortable with what she is and who she is and what she is doing. And this is what she wants. And also, the dragons can breathe fire, so everyone can just back the heck off. I know. It's perfect. It's beautiful. But what about the state of the throne room? Like, what do you think the symbolism is going on in there? Well, total domination. Because that's what she says all the time. It's like, I'm going to go over there and I'm going to carve a path right on down there through the Westeros. Unless we're working with the snow idea, and maybe it's like winter comes and just devastates Westeros to the point where it's not even worth it. That could be a reading on it. That's true. I mean, like, it is true because she's had other visions before, and if these are visions, she's seen that she'll go to a destroyed Westeros and, like, one day be reunited with Khal Drogo. With Khal Drogo in the Nightlands. At the same time, Daenerys isn't the only character who's been given a vision in this episode. We also have a scene with Stannis. Yeah, that was one of my favorite scenes too, because I was expecting some sort of CGI thing of him like sitting on the throne smugly, but it was all done through him like slowly having like this angry look from "I almost choked you out" to "My God." Yeah, he looks into the fire with Melisandre, and then he's just like, "Yes, I believe you. I believe you." Everything and you just like see it. That was so like. Dang, that got me. That was so good. But Melisandre has some interesting things to say to Stannis about how stuff works. Right, how stuff works. She's like, you're going to have to give up everything you stand for. Yeah. The person you are right now is not going to be the person you'll be there. Later. And also, obviously, the war is going to be longer. Sorry to break that to you. So what did you... Like, do you think Stannis is prepared to give up all those things to become the king? According to Melisandre, that's what it takes. Well, once again, he was expecting, like, we're going to get there. It's going to be great. Here we go. Here it is. I put in my, like, 2 weeks of like the Church of the Fire God, and now I'm going to get back like 4 weeks of king or something. I don't know. Yeah. So now I think it's the gravity of what's going is really sinking in, and also him being a tactician and a warrior understands that his position is not great, and honestly, it's him realizing that he's going to have to give up a lot of how he is and who he is and basically become a fanatical person to win. He's literally going to have to commit himself to the Lord of Light to win this war because he is not doing so great. Yeah, it was kind of disastrous, this first and big also, battle. I guess that finally they've broached the topic that they made a demon baby. Right. And he is basically almost directly responsible for killing his brother. Right, which he expressed a degree of, like, remorse about that, yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, now, I don't know, I think he was just, like, in a glass case of emotion. Right. He lost the war, his brother's dead, and he didn't get to kill him. But he's also, like, was my brother dying worth it? A little bit. Yeah, exactly, because, and the other side of that is he saw how much of an asset his brother's forces were when they were directly turned against him. But you can almost see this, like, tension in him because he, as a lord, he was trained to
be like loyal to family, and like Melisandre's telling him like you got to give all that up. You got to give it all up,
and that's nuts.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's just crazy. I don't know. That's gonna be interesting. We're gonna see some things.
Yep. Speaking of seeing some things, we did this last time you finished a season of Game of Thrones, but you know we have to think about where these characters are going to be a season from now, Zach.
Oh, boy.
And we need some predictions from you.
Oh, jeez.
Who's going to live? Who's going to make it through? Because obviously, a lot of characters are kind of in limbo. Some of them have very definitive endings right now. So who's going to be with us by the end of season 3?
Here are 3 people that are going to live. Because if they die, I will literally quit this podcast and my life.
Okay, go ahead.
Osha,
okay.
Ygritte, Brienne. That's it.
Those 3 have to
just
remain alive.
And then if they're the last 3 left in Westeros, they can have the best buddy cop show.
Is it one of these things where all 3 of them have to remain alive, or like can
all 3 have to live?
Okay,
that's it.
Okay, so that's going on. What about some of the other characters?
I need my strong women characters. I need them.
Oh, Zach,
they're what I crave.
So who? If those 3 are definitely going to make it, then who's definitely not going to make it? You think by the end of season 3?
Give me a minute. This is tough. Okay. Hot Pie.
Oh, okay. Poor Hot Pie.
Probably not. And yeah. Shay.
Okay, so why Shay?
I don't know. She's just like too dang confident in herself, and pride comes before the fall, and also Tyrion is in such a precarious position right now. A little
bit, but so you think she's going to push things too far? Almost like a reverse Ned?
Yeah, almost like a reverse Ned. Like, she'll save Tyrion, and it will be like the ultimate, like, just worst thing for him. Okay. And everyone and everything.
Do you have, I mean, as always, you probably hope that certain Lannisters don't make it through the season, but if you had to choose one Lannister not to make it through season 3, who would you pick?
Now it's getting really hard because Tywin's the one who's keeping this all together. Joffrey would fall apart like a house of cards, but then that's more screen time I have to see with him. And as much as I don't like what Tywin is doing to make the Lannisters win, I like him as a character in the show.
So does it boil back down to Joffrey again?
Kind of, due to the fact that he should just stop having screen time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else you have a prediction that will be gone by the end of season 3?
Like all of the Night's Watch, but Sam.
Yeah, because he's busy pretending to be a rock.
Yeah, which evidently works.
Yes.
That was my thing, is like, oh my gosh, he's going to try and camouflage himself to be like a rock, and he just sits there and looks at them like, oh, Sam, you goofed.
Except he didn't. Like, it works.
No, it didn't work. The ice dude's just like, I don't have time for this small fry.
I've got to march slowly towards something.
You're too close. You're not a challenge.
That's true. You're also not a male baby.
Yeah, that's true. That seems to be his MO. It's
it
like,
really does.
I can murder these pretty easily. Like, this is easy XP.
Yep.
I can't really say if anyone I'm sure of that will die. And even those are just people I am highly afraid will die.
Okay.
I also feel as if whoever gets the most involved with Sansa, I feel as if there's going to be some sort of like forced breakout sort of thing going on soon.
So you think
like
Sansa's going to try and break out?
Yeah, whoever she associates most closely with when she decides to, or if someone decides to break her out, will not do well.
Okay.
That's not a death prediction. That's just that's not going to be great for them.
But regardless, you think it's pretty inevitable.
Wait. I know 2 more people who will definitely die.
Okay.
The King of Karth and
that doesn't old count. That doesn't count.
Listen, I'm right, and let me have this.
Lame, Zach. You lose 5 points for that.
No, I only had like 4. This is dumb.
It's obvious because I don't think there's like a special pendant key for the other side of that vault.
No, that's not a 2-way vault.
I just don't think it works that way.
That was the most glorious reveal.
I was like, Dexter's couscous. had no money.
He had no money. Everything he had was in the kitchen.
Yes. I love that. They're just like, well, he had no money. Let's just rob him. Let's just take all of his valuable...
everything. It's great. And they're like and the Dothraki are like, finally.
Yeah, they just plunder all the gold and jewels. Even though he had no money in the vault, no nothing like that.
It's enough for them to get enough capital to get some.
Yeah, I love how Daenerys is holding the little like gold bowl, and she's like, "Is this enough so that we could buy a ship?" And then he's like, "One ship, a small ship." And then she's like, "Okay,
cool,
rob them,
rob it all." Oh, it's so good.
Yes.
So sweet. Yeah, no real other death predictions that I can say.
So, if not death predictions, then where do you think our principal characters are going to be by the end of season 3? Let's talk about the Starks. Where do we think the Starks are going to be by the end of season 3?
I feel as if they are unfortunately going to be like pushed into the defensive because of the White. I just don't have much faith in our boys on the Night's Watch. I just feel like White Walkers are going to get through. And maybe it's not even going to be a thing if they like attack like straight up just like destroy the main like Night's Watch base. There's enough of them that they're just going to like eke out through the holes in the wall because the wall has already been proved to be penetrable.
Right.
By non-magical beings, i.e. wildlings.
I.e. OSHA.
Yeah. If OSHA can do it, weird magic ice zombies most likely can because they run by like cheater magic rules.
Okay, so what about
let's see. Lannisters, I feel as if they're going to sort of come out on top. The Greyjoys are the wild card. Literally based on what the Greyjoys do will decide what happens is sort of my prediction because now we're basically in a war on 3 fronts.
Okay, which brings us to Stannis, obviously. He's licking his wounds from his loss
and he's like kind of out there. Yeah, and that's the thing is like they're 2 wild cards, but I see the Greyjoys as the bigger one because they haven't even really gotten to play so much yet. It's only really been Theon running heavily deep inland and then screwing up gloriously.
Just goofing so badly.
Yeah, and that's not the rest of his family. Yara knows what she's doing.
Yep. What about Daenerys? Where is she going to be at the end of season 3?
Road trip. Well, and it's going to be real hard for her. I think that maybe something she's going to have to sort of overcome first is she's with a bunch of people, none of who know how to pilot a boat because they rode horses.
That's true. They like the Dothraki don't like the boats.
The only thing that they're her only saving grace is that Jorah probably either he kind of knows how to do it or he's read about how to do it. So that's not good. It's like an entire like people being led by someone who read how to ride boats for dummies.
How to ride books.
Dang, words are
they're
hard.
riding books across the narrow sea.
Listen, they're easier to pilot.
So where do you think Daenerys is going to go though?
I don't know. There's a lot of continent in between her and stuff. There's like the narrow sea and whatever, and there's stuff beyond that, and then just moving up there. But the world is her
oyster now. Like she could go to Westeros, she could go to anywhere.
I don't know, and it's really going to depend on what happens with this whole like money changing and boats. She may get. I feel as if like there's too much happening in Westeros for her to actually get like there and be like, hey guys, I am, like player 5. I'm player 5 in this 4-player game. I feel as if there's going to be some sort of like contrived, oh no, there's a storm blown off track plot or something. Just like something's going to come up that's going to delay her even more, despite her getting closer to her goal.
Right.
I don't know. I just don't think it's going to be that simple.
Oh, well, I mean, it's Game of Thrones.
Or
nothing
maybe
ever is.
It may be magic. It's either, or maybe the storm is magic. I don't know. It's gonna be something weird. It's gonna be something that I don't know. She needs some more character growth before she can be a player. Because if she goes over the narrow sea now, it's not gonna go great for her. So I guess that's part of the reason why I want her to have sort of like an
adventure.
Basically an adventure to keep growing up.
Yeah. Okay, well, what about some of our other outlier characters? We know
Jon Snow.
Yeah, Jon Snow is up in the north.
I honestly think it's gonna go decent for him. I think he might actually find a place to belong.
Do you think he's gonna go full weeaboo in this whole wildling stuff?
I don't think he's gonna go full. I don't think he's gonna go full like.
So it's not once you go wildling, you don't go back.
Yeah, no. I don't know. it really all depends on Mance Rayder, which I have no idea.
Yeah, we have not yet met the king beyond the wall, as Egret referred to him.
Yeah, because that's very important to what's going to happen.
Yes, it is.
Sam's going to get away, and that's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen with Arya and crew, because that's kind of scary because everyone's moving north.
Coin.
There's a lot of people who are running north, and there's a lot of zombies running south. So that scares me a lot.
Yep. And that's such a great scene for Arya, by the way, when she gets the coin, and then she's like, I would love to join you and learn your ways.
Yeah, to Bravos.
Yes. But I've got to help my brother and sister. I got to find them, and I got to find my mom.
Do that. Yeah, it's like she wants to make sure their family's set before she follows her dreams. Which was
like, even after all this,
that's a big Arya moment, because really up to this point, and pretty much anything she's done it either one, to survive, or two, because it's what she wanted to do.
Right.
Which is bitter in the butt more often than not, actually. So I don't know. That was actually pretty significant.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like you're seeing this streak of honorability, because she could easily just turn coat and be like, yeah, this is what I'm gonna do, because she's got nothing else.
The thing with it is Jaqen can tell that she would be good at it.
Yeah.
he like, by the time that like he's done all the deaths for you can tell that he's like grown, like he has a shine for her. It's like, you know,
yep,
I could roll with this one. Yeah, because she's extremely smart and she knows how to do these kind of things, and if she had Needle, she could do even more.
That's true. That is so true. Okay, what about Brienne and her whole quest with Jaime right now? How's that gonna go?
I don't even know. It really depends all on what everyone does. It depends on how the other power players are playing. It literally is going to be at the mercy of basically what happens in the war. It's like whether Jaime's actually a good bargaining point, because like if Mama Stark and all the other Starks figure out that the Lannisters have like no more like playing pieces, and like Sansa gets away, there's literally no
point to it, basically.
Yeah, as they've been doing it, and murdering him may become the more efficacious thing. I mean, they can still bargain with him, but it completely changes things, because they're not bargaining people for people. They're bargaining him for, like, you know, we get this tract of land, or like some sort of insane tactical advantage. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you think for sure that Brienne's going to get Jaime to King's Landing then?
Yes. I just don't know if it's going to be good for her or not.
And what do you think is going to happen when she gets Jaime there, and then she finds out that the Lannisters only have one Stark daughter, not two?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much she would think on her feet. She is very much like a follow orders kind of person. Mm-hmm. And the way she wings things is with her sword. Uh-huh. So I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily count her to not be able to diplomatize. I don't know if that's what she's comfortable with, or if that's what she'd be ready with, because I feel like it would be like she would know a good move to make, but she'd be like, I have to wait for Lady Catelyn.
Right. But I mean, honestly, like, she's going to King's Landing, and even if she's even a passable player of the game, she's going to be playing it against Pycelle and Cersei and Varys and Littlefinger and Tywin.
Yeah, and Tywin's there, which is not great. Altogether, just not great for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's going to a den of wolves.
Vipers.
Well, lions.
Lions, for sure, actually. That's probably the best way to put this.
Yes.
Well, let's talk about our weekly wrap-up questions. It's our final weekly wrap-up of Season 2. Mm-hmm. So, who's Stark of the Week? We get to see basically everybody, I think.
Yeah, which is actually kind of great.
Yeah, everybody gets a little bit of screen time in this episode. It's a perfect wrap-up.
Yeah, it was. You never really get an even mix of Stark.
Right. I mean, we've got Arya getting a fancy coin. We got Sansa denying Littlefinger. We got Robb getting married, and Catelyn being feisty. Yep. And Jon up in the north doing pouting, stuff,
learning how to pout harder,
being pouty.
Well, you know, you have Bran and
Rickon. True. Rickle. Yep, they're on the run.
The Rickon Van Winkle. I've got this.
So who is Stark of the Week for this finale episode?
You know what? Honestly, I want to give it to Jon because he has the most chance to grow from where he's at. And I feel as if he may find home.
I think this might be Jon's first time winning Stark of the Week.
Probably. And he's a Snow, so that's weird.
Yes. But we've always kind of considered him in the running for that because
I like it just because this is the point at which I think that he's finally, I don't know. I mean, like, he went to the King's Lodge, like, I don't know if I like this. And it's like you got thrown into it. But, like, this is, like, something he's going to have to commit to. Mm-hmm. Like, something he's going to have to do. And he has, like, someone's literal life being spent to put him into this position.
Right. That's a lot of pressure.
I know. I don't know. I just feel like this is a great opening. I feel like this is actually the start of the Jon Snow plot because everything he was doing up to this point was like, for daddy, I've always wanted to do this sort of thing. And now, like, it's sort of like Jon Snow went to college as a general arts person. And now he's like, wait, I want to be at this thing now.
Yeah, there we go. He's switched majors.
He switched majors to wildlinging.
Okay, so Jon is our Stark of the Week. Who plays the game the best this episode? Who's our winner of the crown?
Let's Margaery. 100%. She's the
I love
the gosh
that.
darn freaking queen.
Everything about it too, the way that like
and how everyone else lines up and she just knows and she knows she can do it.
Yeah, and like it all starts like with Loras, and Loras is all like or Joffrey says to Loras, like, you protected us well, you led your armies great,
and they obviously like rehearsed this,
and I'll give it to you.
They rehearsed it,
yeah, and then you can just picture it in your head, like Margaery has told
like
him,
showing him the flashcards.
Yeah, she's like, and remember, make me queen, make me queen, make me queen.
It's only going to be gooder for you, for Renly.
Yes.
Yeah, she probably pulls that. Jeez, she's probably got like the weird vindictive sister card to play. That's the thing. We haven't actually seen those two interact with each other in a scene yet, which I'm excited for. It's gonna happen since now they're in the Lion's Den Landing.
King's the Lion's Den Landing. I like that. Okay, so and the way that Margaery just engineers that whole situation, it does really work.
And I'm almost 100% sure that there is talk between like everyone that spoke up.
Right.
I totally feel like her and Cersei had like wine. She's like, you know what? Want to be queen? She's like, oh my god, yes, Sansa's such a bore. We can get together and get drunk.
Oh man. Wow.
I just imagine them going clubbing. Westeros clubbing.
Okay, moving on. Best death, worst death. We do have some deaths, some significant death. The loss of Maester Luwin, of course. You know, what is the best death, the worst death in this episode?
There wasn't too much death.
There's just, you're right. I think there was some kind of indiscriminate killing in Winterfell.
Well, yeah, but
So
that's
maybe
not even on screen. I think that wasn't the Maesters the only on screen.
Yeah, it might be actually.
Well, and I mean, okay, no, but we can also assume. Okay, never mind. Then we can kind of do the King of Karth and the ladies the worst death because they're gonna sit there and suffocate in a dark tomb.
And the wizards. The sorcerers, they got burned.
Never mind that. Well, you know what? I honestly think a death where you're sitting there starving to death in complete darkness is worse because you'll also go insane. I mean, the dragon death was at least short and sweet.
Yeah.
And I honestly give the Maester
best death
because he like got to die under like the god tree.
He got to go out on his own terms. Yeah.
Even though he got like cheap shotted, he still got to go out on his own terms. So I think that's.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that.
And I mean, like, he got to see, like, Bran and Rickon and get them final words, which you don't really get to see very much, especially, you know, like, when Neckbeard got his head freaking chopped off. And, like, you know, things like that.
Yep.
Things of that nature.
Yep. Yeah, totally agree. So what about plans moving forward here? A lot of this episode seems to be about establishing the direction for these characters as we move into season 3. Who has the best plan moving forward and who has the worst?
Interesting. Oh boy. I'm trying to think of who is the worst. I feel like it's sort of a tie for a few people.
Okay.
I think we can once again go to the old Margarine and say that her plan is definitely going to see her prosper.
Okay.
Like, that's
So
insane.
being Joffrey's queen is going to be the best thing for her.
No, just being the queen is going to be the best thing for her.
Just period, being queen.
Yeah, and I see her as being a smart enough player as to be able to play Joffrey to do whatever she wants.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I mean, she's Margaery. Come on.
We have not given her a lot of screen time, and already she's shown herself to be a really smart player. And it's kind of terrifying. Like, the 2 times we see her, once she's like trying to make babies so she can be a queen, and the second time she's just literally becoming the queen.
Yep.
That's our transition.
It's a pretty solid trajectory for a character in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
If we're being honest.
Yeah, and it goes straight up.
Yep. Okay, so what about worst plan then?
This is the one that I'm having trouble with.
Okay.
A few of them are like silly and stupid little ones, like Sam sitting in the middle of like a field of White Walkers.
Yeah, it doesn't count.
Yeah, but that doesn't count.
I mean, you got Bran kind of heading north.
No, I honestly think
You got Jon heading more north.
like super north.
Super north.
I honestly want to give worst as sort of like a compilation of bad choices to Sansa for still staying in King's Landing, because things are just gonna get so garbagey for her now.
The fact that she denied someone helping her twice.
2 people who could definitely have gotten her out.
Yeah,
So-
she denies both of them. So, wow, yeah. So
Yeah.
you think sticking around in King's Landing is going to be
staying
bad?
in King's Landing for any amount of time is bad.
That's
Especially for a Stark.
Especially for a Stark. I mean, it's really a wonder that she's lasted this long, considering that
Honestly.
Ned couldn't even last a season, in the pit of all of this,
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Zach, a lot of stuff has happened this episode. A lot of
Oh my goodness, it has.
ground-shaking events. How hopeful are you moving into season 3?
I'm actually still going up.
Okay, even though
I'm
we see
gonna
White
say
Walkers?
just a 6.
Okay.
Even though White Walkers, because people are getting a lot of what they want. There's potential. I don't know.
So it makes you feel a little hopeful.
A little bit. I mean,
we got some fluffy
we
stuff
know
this
it's
episode.
not going to be great. Well, the fluff is honestly kind of what scares me more. I'm more excited about the White Walkers potentially unifying Westeros against a common enemy than I am like there being an actual love story.
The inverse rule of hope. When something nice happens, you dread it because things
But when
bad
something
will
bad
happen.
happens, you know that it's going to resolve in some way, and at least someone that there is a high probability that someone in the cast that you like will come out on top.
There you go.
It's really sad, but that's how it's made me look at like this show.
Well, Zach, it's been a fun ride watching season 2 with you.
Holy cow.
And if you guys have been following along with us, I'm hoping you guys had as much fun as we did. So much. This season just goes through so many things.
I am
It's
just
so
like
cool.
exhausted on every level, like physically, mentally, emotionally.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. So season 3 is going to come up in the near-ish future. We're going to take a break. So start collecting your questions for Zach for season 3.
Get ready.
Start sending them our way. You can connect with us on YouTube and on Twitter and on Tumblr. And send those questions to us because you guys know season 3 is just so it's gonna get twisted. If you've seen it before, you know what I'm talking about.
And we can just talk fan theories and not worry about all the bad things.
If you haven't seen it before, but if you have seen it, you know what's coming. And if you thought Zach's tears were tasty before,
no, we're not making a new line of Zach tears.
this is gonna be like Eau de Sorrow.
Like, what are you saying? This is like the difference between like Mountain Dew and Mountain Dew Black Label.
Sure. If you prefer your metaphors Cheeto dusted.
Yeah, why not? What's wrong with that, huh?
I thought we were a little classier. It's Game of Thrones, but I mean,
I can't analogy anymore. I'm pretty sure my crown is actually cutting off the circulation to my head.
It looks rather tight on you today, Zach. This crown that he's wearing, it's just tighter than usual. That or Zach's head has swelled under the stress of this finale.
I've gotten hydrocephaly due to excessive Game of Thrones intake.
That needs to be like a medical condition, like to the point where...
Doctor, what's the matter with him?
Like Game of Thrones induced head swelling.
Well, he watched an entire season of Game of Thrones. And how much time? A day. My God. Get something mindless in him quick.
Show him Keeping Up with the Kardashians. No.
Oh. No, that'll put him into shock. Do you want to kill him? I like this sort of field doctoring through television.
Yes. Oh, man.
I guess that we can sort of like decompress on like One Piece or something.
Oh, gosh. Speaking of which, Zach, when we take a break from Game of Thrones, we've been debating which show we're going to do for our next section of Watching You Watch Anime Edition.
Yes.
So are you ready to make any announcements on that? What our show is going to be?
I am thinking Cowboy Bebop because that is an old sort of standard. It's sort of like the classic, the one that you show people who you want to get into anime, which is honestly, like I said, I feel Attack on Titan is sort of like the new Cowboy Bebop. Obviously not. It's still good. It's got its great points, and I got other stuff lined up looking. Other shows I've been looking at are Samurai Champloo or possibly Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. But look forward, we're probably going to be bebopping it, doing some westerns in space. Just real good, real classy. It's going to be a little bit more episodic. It's going to be a lot more fun, a little bit more just like talking about fantasy and theory. And I'll still try and keep the leading question themes going. But, you know, it's a different genre. It's a different formula. Obviously.
Right.
But we're going to give our hand in it and see how it goes. Because we very much enjoyed the Attack on Titan stint we had.
But it still didn't get Zach the fix of turning the tables on this format.
I know, not quite.
So if you want to see the tables turned with me being stuck in these leading questions, you're going to have to pay attention to that.
Yeah, and I'm going to force Cameron to like tell me his like weird theories about like odd spacecrafts.
Oh boy. I can't wait.
Yeah, and just corgis. He doesn't understand how it's relevant yet. It's adorable.
Now I know how you feel, Zach, and it's weird.
I love it.
I'll be honest.
Oh my gosh, this is great. Can we start now? I'll just queue up an episode.
Unfortunately, no, because it is time for us to put season 2 to bed. It is the end of Game of Thrones season 2. It is the end of season 2 of Watching You Watch.
And don't forget, we'll do video games. We're getting better at that. We're getting technology.
Yep, we are.
I have a full Firewatch playthrough up, and it went a little better than the Everyone's Gone to the Rapture playthrough. So it's getting better, and eventually I think we'll start adding our voices to things. Look forward to No Man's Sky in June. I will be playing that like some sort of a demon. I'm getting off all the days of work. Absolutely all of them.
Oh, dear. Well, Zach, as the music is coming up here, do you have any closing thoughts on season 2?
Dragons, 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 die Lannisters, dragons.
I think that's a pretty succinct summary of what you would want out of Game of Thrones, right?
Also, I want to see The Walking Dead walkers fight the White Walkers.
Throwdown.
I just want there to be a throwdown.
I really want this throwdown to
Zombie
be like
throwdown tonight. Sunday.
See, I was picturing something totally different in my head. I was picturing like a West Side Story kind of throwdown.
Ooh.
Which might be more fun. I don't know.
I just want to see zombies doing like real anatomically correct, like pseudo dancing where they can't actually even like kick up their legs or bend their joints. So it just looks comical.
Yes, it'll be wonderful and it'll be so far different. than season 3 of Game of Thrones.
Oh,
so
no.
check us out when season 3 is around.
Oh no.